feel like over the summer, you're like, okay, take a deep breath, spend some time, chill out a little bit, get a bunch of stuff done. And then it's like back to school and it's like tidal wave. Been traveling a fair bit. And so just getting full weeks of work are hard. And it's just like meetings upon meetings upon meetings upon meetings, saying no to a lot more meetings lately.
Like internally or people reaching out to
Both.
Want to talk? What
Both,
meetings
like,
you turned on internally?
If there's a meeting that has 2 leaders on it, I'm like, I don't need to be on this. Send me the notes. Only invite me to as many meetings as you want. And if you really need me to be on there, I'll be on there. But otherwise, like, send me the summary of it. Because a lot of times they might want my input for 5 minutes or just one thing, or just feel the need to include me. And really, like, they don't. And so, if there's a meeting where Adam and me are meeting with a sports agent or something, I'll be like, you take that meeting, or I'll take that meeting. You go do something else. Like, we try to conserve each other's just calendars a little bit. Sometimes there's just meeting overload. And then for external meetings, I really will only meet if I feel like there's, something that I need or they need, or it's going to be mutually beneficial, or it's a connection or a network. But I'm not afraid to schedule those meetings like 2 weeks out or something. Like, I'm not going to take a priority time and stop everything I'm doing to have a networking call or a catch up, Do you feel like you just get flooded with, hey, would love to connect and meet?
I feel like the meeting is the last resort. It's like half the time you could just explain a little bit more of what you're looking for in the email and just spend a minute writing it down and then send it over, or send me a video and we can figure that out real quick. And so I'll actually push like, hey, can you just do that and send that over? Obviously, that's more externally driven. And then internally, I will just ask like, hey, can this person take care of it? And part of me, the itch is like, oh, maybe I should poke in or should give my input. And then most of me is like, yeah, but you don't want to be overly swamped again. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Gorilla Joe episode we did, right? Where he was wanting it to be in every single decision, which you have to be for a long time. And then, his breaking point was his family and relationship life. And like everything was not going well. And so he needed to be able to pull out of all those micro decisions. And that was the emotional drive.
I get blown up by like industry reps, people trying to sell us ink, supplies, whether it's manufacturers, apparel companies, and they always want to meet with me. And I'm like, hey, don't meet with me, meet with my team. And they'll, if you impress them and they come and nag to me, like, something's good. And so I try to kind of barricade myself.
You ever see those old Steve Jobs emails where someone will ask him internally and they're very short and to the point? It's
no,
like, yes,
tell me about this.
No, there'd be just questions like people would ask. I'll have to find a good examples, but the people would ask questions and he responds very directly to the point and as short as possible. It's, most of the times one words back and forth. No thanks. Yes, no. Or, not right now, maybe in 3 months, whatever it is. But it was so quick and to the point. I was like, wow.
And then people are like, oh, he's a dick. Or like, if I don't,
right, because it doesn't come across over.
If I give 1-word answers, they're like, oh. Something funny that I've been doing. Did I tell you about me leaving Slack channels?
No.
I am in way too many Slack channels. And so I've just started leaving them. I'm just like, I don't need to be in this anymore. I'm leaving this channel. And I don't see what happens after because like the team is still in there. And so they'll kind of like troll me a little bit and be like, and that was an Irish goodbye. Like, or like, okay, I'll put 1 word in
Steven
there.
Has
like,
left this Slack channel.
Hey guys, you did a fantastic job on this. Everything looked great. Look forward to doing this again next year. And then I'll leave the channel and they'll be like, mic drop. And so it's funny. There's like kind of a running joke of me leaving channels. But I was inspired by Justin Lawrence, who isn't even in his company's Slack.
I'm very curious. We'll have to ask him. How does that exactly work? Does that mean that people are texting him though? Like, is that his preferred channel of communication? There's just a bunch of text channels.
If you make yourself unreachable, people will reach out to you if it's important. If you make yourself so available, they will reach out to you. No, like they'll just continue to reach out to you. So I was talking to a shop this morning and I'm like, okay, like don't show up until 10 a.m. You weren't in the last week and a half because you're on vacation. Don't just go running back to them. Just make yourself unavailable. Adam, who works with us and leads all of our NIL, he was on paternity leave. And, you know, the day he came back, we're like, hey, let's just pretend that you're still on leave. Like they're doing a great job. Don't let them like drag you back into the mud of the day to day and all the meetings. Like go do other things. So I don't know. I'm of the camp of protect yourself, protect your time, make yourself slightly unavailable. Let them figure it out.
There was a great blog post I read last week that said, normally we take ourselves as hourly costs as our salary divided by the number of hours you work. So let's say, you know, maybe you paid yourself, I don't know, $80K last year, and, you know, there's 2,000 hours work hours a year. That's $40 an hour. What he said to do was multiply that by 10 as an aspirational number and use that for deciding what you should spend your time on. So, you know, if it's 40, multiply it by 10. So your time is actually 400 an hour. Now, organize your day and reprioritize your day and use that based on what you should be doing or not worth your time. So I found that kind of cool.
Yeah. And then you know what to pull yourself into. So if there's a huge sales call with a huge client, yeah, you're going to be in that, but you're not going to be in everything. That's really interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. I wonder, I always see these Google, like there's this guy that creates features of what would be funny to add to like your Google Calendar or your Slack. And he's like, what a meeting costs or what this meeting is worth. Do you see that? Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wonder if they like, yeah, on your Google Calendar, like, hey, this is worth about $30 to you, or this is worth $1,000 to you. Like,
ooh, I love
are you
that.
Sure you want to like, I
or
wonder
your
if there
task
could be
list and literally what is this worth? Like if you took your task list that's in your iPhone note or you're written down or whatever, and next to it, you put dash and then the dollars based on that hourly cost of, you know, what you feel you're worth.
Or what you would pay someone to do that. What you would pay
Right.
someone to do that. It's funny, like one of my friends is moving and he's like, you want to come help me move? And he's like, I was like, that's the one thing I won't do with my friends because we won't be friends after it. I don't want to help you move. Why don't I get you a gift card to TaskRabbit and find a mover for a day?
Also, shouldn't be asking I don't know how old they are, but like shouldn't be asking anyone for help to move after like 28 or something. I have a couple examples, by the way, of that. I just pulled up the Steve Jobs like email responses. So like a few examples, you know, asking about Apple's 2011 strategy. He just goes, holy war with Google. Someone like an Apple HR executive that emailed over, or I'm sorry, a Google executive emailed him asking about why you keep poaching our people. And he just responded, smiley face. You know, and they said a journalist or a vendor reaching out who hadn't heard back and kept following up, please leave me alone. So, I mean, you know, sure, sounds rough, but it's just straight and to the point. One of my favorite ones, though, is a Mac owner who emailed him who wasn't having any luck with AppleCare replacing his laptop. And he looks it up, the record of what they wanted, and he says, this is what happens when your laptop sustains water damage. These machines don't like water. It sounds like you're looking for someone to get mad at other than yourself.
Honestly, like when I email Mark, he's super short and to the point. And he just like, he writes his emails like he talks. He's not formal whatsoever. It's kind of funny. And so I sent him this company that was going bankrupt and I was like, hey, we could buy this and you could really own this. He's like, ha, no, wow.